My name's Ian Fraser and I'm at Scotch today. And I thought we'd discuss some of the theories going around in cricket at this present moment. Are they beneficial? Do they assist? And how can we implement them if they are beneficial? So let's investigate and see whether these theories do help the cricketer of today and the cricketer of tomorrow. Heavy bats are proposed to be an effective way of improving your hitting. And while it's nice to look down and see a lot of wood in your bat, we have to be mindful that batting is both a vertical plane hit and a horizontal plane hit. And if you can't hit in the two planes, then your batting becomes problematic. And it's the ability to be able to play in as wide a range as possible that distinguishes the best batsman. Now, one of the things that I'm seeing with the use of heavy bats is batsmen, and I'll demonstrate it for a right-hander, their grips, instead of being on top, their bottom hand grip, is coming underneath the bat to be able to control the bat or the weight of the bat. Now this leads to inconsistency in the swing of the bat. As the hips open out early, the bat starts coming across the line of the ball. So if you want to use a big bat, make sure it's well balanced and that you can efficiently hit in the vertical and in the horizontal. We see a lot of powerful batsmen today, and so commentators are always talking about fast hands, and that if you have fast hands, it leads to a more powerful shot. So let's investigate. Well, firstly, if you don't hit the ball in the centre of the bat, and you don't have the bat meeting the ball at the correct time for that delivery, then fast hands become irrelevant. But more importantly than that is that by throwing the hands out at the ball, what we do is we stop one of the segments working efficiently. And that segment is the last segment, which is the uncocking of the wrists. By throwing the hands, we release these early, meaning that we lose the ability to use them late, and importantly, in a fast manner through the shot at the appropriate time. So let's have a look at this. When the wrists are used correctly, they are locked or held by the weight of the bat in a position which allows them, as the bat comes through and the weight takes over, uncocks these wrists, allowing them to go through the ball efficiently. That is where you get your fast hands, and that is what leads, if the ball is hit in the right place on the bat and the ball is met at the right time, to an efficient and executed successful hit. Time is an issue in batting, with around 600 milliseconds to pick up the release of the ball, to determine its length and line, and to execute effectively. Then you need to use time efficiently. So many theories are proposing that we can maximise time. So let's investigate these theories. The stance allows us to be in what we call an active neutral position. That's a position that allows us to be able to move to both the line and the length of the ball. So the theory is that by starting with a preloaded backlift and an upright position in the body, in the stance, that we actually improve this ability. So do we? Well, firstly, a preloaded backlift means that we preload some of our important levers, and essentially the lever of the wrist. Also, with this preloaded upright stance, we have to make sure that our weight doesn't fall backwards. So in order to do that, what we do is we transfer the weight forward over our front leg such as that it balances up the weight of the bat already being back. What this means is that it changes the abilities to be able to shift the weight, because you've got to get off that front foot then to load the body appropriately then to move to the ball. So is it improving time, or is it making it less efficient to move? The trigger movement is one which allows us to get the body moving. So many are proposing different ways to trigger the movement of the body. The first being proposed is what is called the forward press, which means an early initial loading of the front leg. And the proposal is that by doing this, that the next movement doesn't have to be as long, thus saving time. It's proposed that this can be done by a slight back movement followed by a forward movement. But I hope, as you can see in this video, that what happens is all you're doing is re-changing the stance. The trigger movement to be successful has to be timely, because it has to load the body to be able to move. And if you load it to a set position, then it can't move again. The other movement that's often discussed is the back and across. Now again, what we want to think about is the objective. And the objective is to load the body to what's going to happen at the other end from the bowler. And we know that the bowler's first point of release will be the full ball. After that, it gets shorter and shorter. So ideally, the back movement or a transfer onto the back leg of the weight is the best method. The thing is that we don't want the weight to be going down onto the heel. We want it to be in a position to be able to push off, such as that we can either move forward or change, such as we can push onto the front foot to move back. So this is very important, but the key to the trigger movement, whatever you do, is to make sure that you do it in a timely way, such as that you're not just setting up a new stance. It is proposed that by taking only short movements, that we save ourselves time, because we've got more time to play the shot. So is this true? Well, the first thing we have to think about in batting is that not only is it about the line of the ball, but it's about the length of the ball. And that length becomes critical, because that is the area where the ball can deviate, whether it be by a swinging ball, by a seaming ball off the wicket, or by a spinning ball. So logically, the first thing would be to try and get as close to the pitch of that ball. And to do this, we need to use footwork. And the footwork is to get a stride in to not only the line of the ball, but the length of the ball. Alternatively, some balls we can't get close enough to, so we have to utilise the time again. Now, to do this and to allow us time to set up and play our shot, the most efficient way would be to get right back and to play the ball off the back foot. So, the question is, do these theories of short strides work? Well, I'm proposing that the closer you get to the ball, or the further back you get away from the ball, the more time you'll have.